The Montauk Project, the real-life story of Stranger Things, Part 2.
Hey man, I don't want to snipe at your video, not my style, but I need to speak out against the Montauk story. Montauk was fictional, and I'll loop around to that later. What there was a real mind control psychic training program being done to kids at a facility just down the road, and nobody talks about it. This all revolves around the shady as hell Dr. Henry Puharich. I'm just going to lowball it for you. Puharich was involved with creating every meme, everything we think of as the New Age movement, from drug use, hallucinogenic mushrooms, LSD, DMT, channeled material, raw material, Star Children, Starseeds, Indigo Children, Nikola Tesla's popularity. He had a hand in popularizing all of these over the years, and let me show you why that's so nefarious. You might remember him from my first video where I presented the Studies in Intelligence document from the CIA that describes him giving a presentation to the Pentagon in 1952 that started up all their interest in extrasensory perception and parapsychology. But that wasn't entirely accurate. I've got his resume here. He was put into the Army Specialized Training Program in 1942, put through medical school, and specifically tasked with doing hallucinogenic research, hallucinogenic plants and compounds, on mind control and extrasensory perception. So once this military private graduated from medical school, he just went through society with a rocket up his ass. He got introduced to all the blue blood, all the old money that ran society. The Astors, the DuPonts, the Bordens, the Rockefellers. And he became best buddies somehow with the Vice President of the United States, who would visit him on his farm. And this farm was a 50-room mansion with acreage on the coast that was bought for him by the heiress of the Astor fortune. And that mansion was his human testing facility, where he brought in people that were psychic, tested telepathy, hallucinogenic drugs, and various technologies to replicate them. What technology he was working on is shown by his patents, that are various forms of hearing aid that use facial nerves instead of actual electronic devices to conduct voices and sound into the brain directly. The early versions of these hearing aids were implanted in your tooth and conducted through the facial nerves. In later versions of the technology, he was able to do away with the implants completely and just rely on radio frequencies to stimulate the nerves and put voices in someone's head. So why does that matter? Well, around that time, he started running channeling circles for rich and influential movers and shakers, including Gene Roddenberry of Star Trek fame, various billionaires, and including the people who wrote the raw material. So you have a military intelligence asset with extremely wealthy financiers. He's got a facility, the time, money, and know-how to make people believe whatever he wants them to believe. He's taken the organic process of human telepathy and back-engineered it into something artificial that he can influence and put his messages into. And he has surrounded himself by with the movers and shakers that will eventually become the entire basis for the New Age community. And he had his fingers in everything, including child testing. So there's a lot more to touch on. But as a wrap-up, Montauk was written by Preston Nichols. The Montauk story came out from his books. Preston Nichols was buddies with Puharich. They presented at conferences together. Now, I don't know if Preston was paid to put out that propaganda or if he just listened in and took the best parts and created a fiction to make a couple of bucks off of, but Montauk is a nothing burger. Never happened. There's nothing there. It's the origin for a lot of stories about things like reptile aliens and all that, which just makes the reality of the real science that was really going on and was really successful seem silly, which is the perfect disinformation campaign.